The text message arrived at 6:47 p.m. on a Tuesday that would dismantle a billion-dollar marriage in under 60 seconds. Don't wait up tonight. 5 words. That's all it took. Noah Carter stared at his phone screen, watching those words glow against the darkness of his home office while his 6-year-old daughter slept upstairs, still waiting for a mother who would never come home on time. He'd suspected for months, investigated for weeks. And tonight, he'd finally had enough. But before we get there, let me tell you how a self-made man married to one of America's youngest female billionaires lost everything and found himself. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels, and hit that like button if you've ever had to walk away from someone who stopped choosing you. Now, let's go back to where it really started. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself with trumpets and warning signs. It creeps in slowly, wearing the face of someone you trust, speaking in the voice of someone you love, hiding behind excuses that sound almost reasonable until you string them all together and realize you've been watching your marriage die in real time for 6 months. Noah Carter learned this the hard way. He sat in his home office, a converted bedroom on the second floor of the lakefront house that Vivian's money had bought, but his hands had turned into a home, and scrolled through his phone with the kind of calm that only comes after you've already done your grieving in private. The blue light from the screen washed over his face, casting shadows that made him look older than 32. Or maybe that's just what happened when you spent half a year pretending you didn't notice your wife was having an affair. Outside, the October wind rattled the windows. Inside, the house felt like a museum. Beautiful, expensive, and completely empty of anything that mattered. His daughter Emma's bedroom door was cracked open down the hall. He could hear her breathing, that soft, rhythmic sound of a child deep in sleep, completely unaware that her world was about to shift on its axis. She was 6 years old. She still believed her mother hung the moon. Noah wanted to keep it that way for as long as possible, even though he knew that ship had probably already sailed. The message had come in 17 minutes ago. Don't wait up tonight. Not, I'll be late. Not working late, sorry honey. Not even a half-hearted excuse anymore. Just a flat statement of fact. The kind you'd send to a roommate, not a husband. Not the man you'd promised forever to 7 years ago when neither of you had money, but you at least had each other. Noah set the phone down on the desk, face up, and watched it like it might come alive and explain itself. It didn't. It just sat there, black and glass and silent, holding all the evidence of a marriage that had flatlined months ago, but nobody had bothered to call the time of death. He stood up, grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair, and walked down the hallway past Emma's room. He paused at her door, listening. She was dreaming about something. Her lips moved soundlessly, and her hand clutched the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was 2. The rabbit's name was Buttons. Vivian had bought it for her at some airport gift shop between business trips, back when she still tried to pretend she cared about the little things. Noah pulled the door shut gently and headed downstairs. The living room was exactly the way the interior designer had left it 3 months ago. Modern, minimalist, aggressively tasteful in that way that screamed money but whispered nobody actually lives here. White couches that Emma wasn't allowed to sit on with snacks. Abstract art that cost more than most people's cars. Floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the lake, where the water looked black and infinite under the clouded night sky. He walked into the kitchen and opened the drawer next to the sink. The divorce papers were exactly where he'd left them this morning, tucked beneath a stack of takeout menus they never used because Vivian was always too busy to eat at home, and Noah had stopped cooking for one. He pulled them out. The lawyer had done good work. Everything was clean, organized, labeled with little sticky tabs that said things like, "Sign here" and "Date here" in neat block letters. Noah had already signed his parts yesterday in the lawyer's office, watching his signature loop across the dotted line and feeling like he was signing his own death certificate. Except it wasn't death. It was the opposite. It was finally choosing to stop suffocating. He laid the papers on the kitchen island, right under the pendant lights that Vivian had insisted on ordering from Italy. They cost $8,000. For lights. Noah remembered arguing about it. Not because he cared about the money, but because it felt obscene to spend that much on something so unnecessary when he was trying to teach Emma the value of things. "You don't understand," Vivian had said, scrolling through her phone while he talked. "Aesthetic matters. Image matters. We can't live like we're still broke, Noah." But they weren't we anymore. Maybe they never had been. Maybe Noah had just been too in love to notice that somewhere along the way, Vivian had stopped being the woman he married and turned into someone he didn't recognize. He checked his watch. 7:08 p.m. She wouldn't be home until midnight at the earliest. That gave him time. Noah went back upstairs, moving quietly through the house like a ghost in his own life. In the bedroom, their bedroom, though it hadn't felt like theirs in months, he pulled the duffel bag out of the closet and started packing. Not everything, just enough. Clothes for a week. Toiletries. The photo album from their first year of marriage that he kept hidden in his nightstand, because looking at it hurt too much, but throwing it away felt like admitting defeat. He moved methodically, without emotion, the same way he'd built his business from nothing 6 years ago. One step at a time, one decision at a time, no room for second guessing. Then he went to Emma's room. She was still asleep, still dreaming, still innocent. He packed her things quickly. Favorite clothes, favorite books, Buttons the rabbit, the stuffed elephant his mother had given her before she passed away 2 years ago. Everything that mattered fit into one small suitcase, which said something profound about what really counts in life. But Noah was too tired to figure out what. By 7:45 p.m., everything was in the car. By 8 p.m., he was sitting back in the kitchen, staring at the divorce papers and trying to figure out if he was really going to do this or if he was just having the world's most elaborate breakdown. His phone buzzed. A text from his business partner, Marcus. "You good, man? You've been quiet." Noah typed back, "Yeah, just handling some things." "Need anything?" "No, I'll call you tomorrow." He set the phone down and picked up the pen the lawyer had given him. Expensive pen. Heavy. The kind of pen people used to sign important documents, like mortgages and business deals and the end of marriages. He clicked it once, twice, 3 times. Then he heard it. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Noah's heart kicked into a different gear. He checked his phone. 8:11 p.m. She wasn't supposed to be back for hours. She never came home this early anymore. He stood up, walked to the window, and looked out. Vivian's black Tesla was parked in the driveway, headlights still on. She was sitting in the driver's seat, head down, phone pressed to her ear. Even from here, he could see the tension in her shoulders, the way she gripped the steering wheel with her free hand like she was trying to strangle it. She was arguing with someone. Noah watched her mouth move, watched her shake her head, watched her slam her hand against the wheel once, twice. Then she hung up, sat there for 30 seconds in complete silence, and finally got out of the car. She looked exhausted. That was the first thing he noticed. No makeup, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing jeans and a sweater instead of the power suits and designer dresses she usually wore. She looked like the woman he'd married, before the $1 billion fund, before the magazine covers, before Damien Cross. She walked up to the front door, keys jingling in her hand. Noah stepped back from the window and positioned himself in the kitchen, standing next to the island where the divorce papers sat under the pendant lights like evidence at a crime scene. The front door opened, closed. Footsteps in the hallway. Vivian walked into the kitchen and stopped cold when she saw him. "You're still up," she said. Not a question, just an observation. "Yeah?" She set her bag down on the counter, not looking at him. "I thought you'd be asleep. You told me not to wait up." "Right." She opened the refrigerator, pulled out a bottle of water, twisted the cap, drank, set it down. Still not looking at him. "Emma's asleep?" "Yeah." "Good." She turned toward the hallway like she was going to walk away, and that's when she saw them. The divorce papers. Vivian froze. Actually froze, like someone had hit a pause button on her entire body. Her eyes locked onto the papers, and Noah watched her face cycle through about 15 different emotions in under 3 seconds. Confusion, shock, disbelief, panic, anger, and something that might have been fear. "What is that?" she asked. Her voice was quiet, dangerous quiet. "I think you know what it is." She walked over to the island, picked up the top page, and read it. Noah watched her eyes move across the words, watched her hands start to shake. "You're divorcing me." "Yeah." She looked up at him. "Why?" Noah almost laughed. Actually almost laughed, because the question was so absurd, so monumentally disconnected from reality, that it didn't even deserve an answer. But he gave her one anyway.
फिर ऐसे सवाल उठा है
Because you're having an affair with Damian Cross, and I'm done pretending I don't know about it. The air in the kitchen changed. It got heavier, thicker, like someone had sucked all the oxygen out and replaced it with concrete. Vivian's face went pale. Not pale like surprised. Pale like guilty. Noah, don't. He held up a hand. Don't insult me by lying. I know, Vivian. I've known for weeks. Hotel receipts, text messages. Your assistant accidentally sent me your calendar last month with all the blocked out time labeled DC meeting. Real subtle. She set the papers down. Carefully, like they might explode. How long have you known? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. 6 weeks, give or take. She stared at him. 6 weeks? And you didn't say anything? What was I supposed to say? Hey, honey, I know you're sleeping with your business partner. Could you pass the salt? I was waiting to see if you'd tell me yourself. Spoiler alert, you didn't. Vivian sat down on one of the bar stools, hard, like her legs had given out. She put her face in her hands. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. Noah, please, just let me explain. Ika, no. His voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes from being so far past anger that you've looped all the way back around to nothing. I don't want your explanations. I don't want your excuses. I want a divorce. Vivian looked up at him, and for the first time in months, he saw actual fear in her eyes. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. What about Emma? What about Emma? Noah's voice finally cracked. You haven't put her to bed in 3 months, Vivian. You missed her school play. You forgot her birthday was coming up until I reminded you. Twice. You're never here, and when you are here, you're on your phone with him. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? He laughed, and it sounded broken. I have spent the last 6 months raising our daughter basically alone while you built your empire and slept with your business partner. I have cooked every meal, handled every bedtime, gone to every parent-teacher conference solo while you were off at dinners that apparently couldn't include your family. So no, Vivian, don't talk to me about fair. She was crying now, actual tears running down her face. Noah couldn't remember the last time he'd seen her cry. Maybe their wedding day, maybe never. I made a mistake, she whispered. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. An affair is a choice, multiple choices, every single day for months. I'm sorry. I don't care. That landed like a physical blow. He could see it hit her, see her flinch back like he'd slapped her. Noah, please. I'm taking Emma, he said. We're leaving tonight. My lawyer will be in touch about custody arrangements, asset division, all of it. You'll get the papers officially served in a few days, but I wanted you to see them first. Professional courtesy. Vivian stood up so fast the bar stool fell over. You can't take her. You can't just leave. Watch me. I'll fight you. I'll fight for custody. Noah looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the desperation, the panic, the sudden realization that she was about to lose everything that mattered because she'd stopped paying attention to what mattered. Go ahead, he said quietly. Fight me. Bring it to court. Let a judge hear about how you spend 80 hours a week at the office and the other 88 sleeping with Damian Cross. Let's talk about who's been the primary caregiver. Let's talk about school records and pediatrician visits and who knows the name of Emma's teacher. Please, Vivian, give me that gift. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. That's what I thought. He walked past her, heading for the stairs. Where are you going? Her voice was small, broken. To get our daughter and leave. You should call Damian. I'm sure he'll comfort you. Noah, wait. He stopped at the bottom of the stairs and turned back. You know what the worst part is? I would have forgiven you. If you'd come to me 6 months ago and said you were unhappy, that you'd made a mistake, that you wanted to fix it, I would have tried. I loved you that much. But you didn't. You just kept lying, kept pretending, kept coming home smelling like his cologne and acting like I was too stupid to notice. Vivian was sobbing now, full-body sobs that shook her shoulders and made her gasp for air. Please don't take her. Please, I'll end it. I'll fix this. I'll do whatever you want. It's too late. It's not too late. It can't be too late. Noah felt something crack inside his chest. Not his heart. That had broken weeks ago. Something else. Maybe the last shred of hope he'd been carrying that this could end any other way. I'm not doing this anymore, Vivian. I'm not going to spend the next 10 years wondering when you're going to cheat again. I'm not going to let Emma grow up watching her mother treat her father like he's invisible. I'm not going to teach my daughter that this is what love looks like. He turned and walked up the stairs. Behind him, he heard Vivian collapse. Actually collapse, like her legs had given out completely. He heard her hit the floor, heard her crying, heard her say his name over and over like a prayer. He kept walking. Emma was still asleep when he opened her door, still clutching buttons, still innocent. He picked her up carefully, and she stirred but didn't wake, just curled into his chest the way she always did, like he was the safest place in the world. "Daddy?" she mumbled, half asleep. "Shh, we're going on an adventure, sweetheart. Go back to sleep." "Okay." And she did. He carried her downstairs. The duffel bag and her suitcase were already in the car. He'd loaded them an hour ago, back when this was still just a plan, not a reality. Vivian was sitting on the kitchen floor, back against the island, arms wrapped around her knees. She looked up when he came down with Emma. "Don't," she whispered. "Please, don't take her." Noah walked past her without responding. He couldn't look at her. If he looked at her, he might break. And he'd already broken enough for one lifetime. He buckled Emma into her car seat. She was still mostly asleep, head lolling to the side. He kissed her forehead and closed the door gently. When he walked around to the driver's side, Vivian was standing in the doorway, backlit by the kitchen lights, looking like a ghost. "Where are you going?" she called out. "Away." "Noah, please. We can talk about this. We can fix this." He got in the car, started the engine. Vivian ran down the driveway, bare feet on the cold pavement. She stopped at his window. He didn't roll it down. "I love you," she said. He could barely hear her through the glass. "I still love you." Noah put the car in reverse and backed out of the driveway. The last thing he saw in the rearview mirror was Vivian standing alone in the driveway of the house that cost more money than most people made in a lifetime, crying in the dark, looking like the loneliest person on earth. He drove. He drove until the house disappeared, until the lake disappeared, until the whole life he'd built with Vivian Sinclair was nothing but lights in the rearview mirror, getting smaller and smaller until they finally winked out completely. Emma woke up about 20 minutes later. "Daddy, where are we going?" "To a hotel for tonight, sweetheart. And then we're going to find us a new place to live, just you and me." "What about Mommy?" Noah's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Mommy's going to stay at the big house for a while." "Is she coming with us tomorrow?" "No, baby, not tomorrow." Emma was quiet for a minute, processing this in that way that 6-year-olds do, where you can almost hear the gears turning. "Did you and Mommy have a fight?" "Something like that." "Are you sad?" Noah looked at her in the rearview mirror. Her big brown eyes, his eyes, were wide and worried. "I'm okay, Em, I promise." "Okay." She hugged Buttons tighter. "Can we get pancakes for breakfast?" "Yeah, sweetheart, we can get pancakes." "With chocolate chips?" "With chocolate chips." "Okay." "I love you, Daddy." Something in Noah's chest cracked wide open. "I love you too, baby girl, more than anything." She went back to sleep a few minutes later. Noah kept driving. He didn't know where he was going. Not really. He had a hotel reservation downtown, a corporate suite that would do for a few nights until he figured out the next step. But beyond that, no plan, no roadmap, just the understanding that sometimes the only way forward is to burn the bridge behind you and hope you can swim. His phone rang. Vivian. He declined the call. It rang again. Declined. Again. Declined. Then the text started. "Please come back. We can talk about this." "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Ashad. I'll do anything." "Noah, please don't do this. I made a mistake. One mistake." He turned the phone off and threw it in the glove compartment. The city lights rose up ahead of him, bright and anonymous, full of people living their own complicated lives, fighting their own battles, making their own impossible choices. Noah Carter had spent 7 years loving a woman who'd stopped loving him back. He'd spent 6 months knowing she was cheating and trying to figure out if he was strong enough to walk away. Turned out, he was. Turned out once you stop being afraid of losing everything, you realize you've already lost the only thing that mattered, and you're still standing. The hotel was nice, corporate, neutral, the kind of place where nobody asked questions and everybody minded their own business. He checked in at the front desk using the reservation he'd made 3 days ago, back when this was still just a contingency plan. "Will anyone else be joining you?" the clerk asked. Noah looked down at Emma, who was awake again and clutching his hand, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her other arm. "Just us," he said. The room was on the 14th floor, overlooking the city. 2 beds, a couch, a desk, a bathroom with one of those rainfall showers that Vivian would have approved of. Everything clean and impersonal and safe. Emma explored the room with the excitement of a kid who thought this was a fun adventure, not a family falling apart. She bounced on the bed, checked out the view, discovered the mini fridge, and asked if she could have one of the fancy cookies on the welcome tray. "Sure, sweetheart." She ate the cookie, sitting on the bed, legs swinging, getting crumbs everywhere. "This is fun," she announced. "Yeah? Yeah, it's like camping, but inside." Noah sat down next to her. I need to talk to you about something." Her face got serious immediately, in that way that kids do when they know something important is coming. "Okay. You know how sometimes grown-ups have problems they can't fix?" She nodded, even though he was pretty sure she didn't really understand. "Well, Mommy and I are having one of those problems, so we're going to live in different houses for a while. You and me in one house, and Mommy in another house." Emma's face crumpled. "You're getting divorced?" Noah blinked. "You know what that word means?" "Madison's parents got divorced last year. She lives with her mom on weekdays and her dad on weekends." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Is that what's happening to us?" "I don't know yet, baby. We're still figuring it out." "Is it my fault?" "No." Noah pulled her into his lap. "No, Emma, listen to me. This has nothing to do with you. This is about grown-up stuff that you don't need to worry about. You didn't do anything wrong. Mommy and I both love you so much. That's never going to change." "Then why can't we all live together?" "Because sometimes love isn't enough to fix everything." She cried into his chest, and Noah held her, and somewhere in the back of his mind he added this to the list of things he would never forgive Vivian for, making their daughter cry because she couldn't keep her marriage vows. Eventually Emma fell asleep, still in his lap, her face blotchy and tear-stained. Noah carried her to the bed, tucked her in, put buttons next to her pillow. Then he sat on the couch and turned his phone back on. 43 missed calls, 67 text messages, all from Vivian. He scrolled through them. "Please talk to me." "I ended it. I told Damien it's over. I love you. I love Emma. I love our family. I'm begging you, please come home. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever it takes. Noah, please. Please don't throw away 7 years." He read them all. Felt nothing. Or maybe he felt everything all at once, so much that it added up to nothing. Grief and anger and relief and sadness, all mixed together into something that didn't have a name. He typed one message back. "My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. Don't call me again." Then he blocked her number. He didn't sleep that night. Just sat on the couch, watching Emma breathe, watching the city lights through the window, thinking about how he'd gotten here. 7 years ago, he'd met Vivian at a tech conference in San Francisco. She was 23, fresh out of Stanford, working as a junior analyst at a venture capital firm. He was 25, running a small software consulting business out of his apartment, barely scraping by but optimistic about the future. They talked for 4 hours straight, about technology, about ambition, about the kind of life they wanted to build. She was brilliant, funny, driven in a way that made him want to be better. He fell in love with her before dessert arrived. They got married 8 months later in a small ceremony at her parents' house. No big wedding, no fancy dress, just them and 20 people who mattered, promising forever. For a while it was good, really good. They were broke but happy, building their careers, talking about the future, planning for kids. Then Vivian got recruited by Sterling Capital Group. Big job, big money, the kind of opportunity you don't turn down. She took it. Within 2 years, she'd worked her way up to partner. Within 4, she'd launched her own investment fund. Within 6, she was managing billions and getting profiled in Forbes and Fortune and all the magazines that write about powerful women who shatter glass ceilings. Noah was proud of her. Of course he was proud of her. He'd never wanted to be the kind of husband who felt threatened by his wife's success. But somewhere along the way, success became more important than family. Work became more important than marriage. Money became more important than the man who'd loved her before she had any. And then came Damien Cross. Damien was everything Noah wasn't. Old money, Ivy League pedigree, connected in all the right circles. He was Vivian's co-managing partner at the fund, her equal in the boardroom, her partner in building an empire. Apparently he'd become her partner in other ways too. Noah didn't know exactly when it started. Didn't want to know, really. What difference did it make? Whether it was 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago, the result was the same. His wife had chosen someone else. The sun came up slowly, painting the hotel room in shades of gray and gold. Emma woke up around 7, groggy and confused about where she was. "Morning, sweetheart." "Morning, Daddy." She rubbed her eyes. "Can we still get pancakes?" "Yeah, let's get you dressed." They went down to the hotel restaurant. Emma ordered chocolate chip pancakes and orange juice. Noah ordered coffee and couldn't eat. "You're sad," Emma said, watching him over her pancakes. "A little bit. It's okay to be sad." "Yeah?" "Yeah. Miss Roberts says it's okay to feel your feelings. She says feelings are like weather. They come and they go." Noah smiled despite everything. "Miss Roberts sounds smart." "She is. She has a turtle in the classroom. His name is Speed Bump." "That's a good name for a turtle." They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Well, Emma ate. Noah just drank coffee and watched his daughter be resilient in the way that kids are, bouncing back from heartbreak with pancakes and turtle stories. After breakfast, they went back to the room. Noah called his lawyer. "It's done," he said. "I left last night." "How'd she take it?" "About as well as you'd expect. She knows about the papers." "Good. That makes my job easier. I'll have them officially served this afternoon. Are you ready for the next steps?" "I don't know. What are the next steps?" "Custody hearing, asset division, the usual. It's going to get messy, Noah. She's going to fight." "Let her fight." "Okay. I'll be in touch." Noah hung up and looked at Emma, who was watching cartoons on the hotel TV, completely absorbed in whatever animated adventure was happening on screen. This was worth fighting for. She was worth fighting for. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered it. "Mr. Carter?" A woman's voice he didn't recognize. "Yeah?" "This is Jennifer Hayes, Ms. Sinclair's executive assistant. She asked me to call you." "Tell her I'm not interested in talking." "Please, Mr. Carter. She's not doing well. She hasn't slept. She's been crying all night. She just wants to know that Emma's okay." Noah felt something twist in his chest. Not sympathy, something colder. "Emma's fine. She's safe. She's with me. That's all Vivian needs to know." "Mr. Carter, don't call this number again." He hung up. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Noah spent it on his laptop, responding to work emails, trying to pretend his world wasn't actively exploding. Emma watched movies and colored in the hotel notepad and asked every hour when they were going to find their new house. "Soon, sweetheart." "How soon?" "Soon, soon." That night, after Emma fell asleep, Noah sat on the couch and let himself think about what he'd done. Really think about it. He'd left. Actually left. After 6 months of knowing and 2 weeks of planning, he'd finally done it. Part of him couldn't believe it. Part of him kept waiting to wake up and discover this was all just an elaborate stress dream. But the divorce papers sitting in his bag were real. Emma, asleep in the hotel bed, was real. The wedding ring he'd taken off and left on the kitchen counter back at the house, that was real too. 7 years of marriage. Gone. Just like that. His phone buzzed. Email from his lawyer. Subject line, served. Noah opened it. Papers were served at 4:47 p.m. today at her office. Witness confirms receipt. She signed for them. It's official now. Call me tomorrow and we'll discuss next steps. It's official now. Noah closed his laptop and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere across the city, Vivian was probably sitting in that big empty house, holding divorce papers, realizing that her husband wasn't coming back. Good. He hoped it hurt. He hoped she understood, finally, what it felt like to lose something you took for granted. Outside, the city kept moving, cars honking, people living, the world turning like nothing had changed. But for Noah Carter, everything had changed. He'd spent 6 months dying slowly in a marriage that was already dead. Now, finally, he was choosing to live. Even if living meant starting over with nothing but a daughter, a duffel bag, and the slowly dawning realization that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. The papers hit Vivian's desk at 4:47 p.m. on a Wednesday, delivered by a process server who didn't care that he was interrupting a board meeting with 12 of the most powerful investors on the West Coast. "Vivian Sinclair?" he'd asked, standing in the doorway of the glass conference room like he had every right to be there. "Yes?" She'd looked up from her presentation, annoyed at the interruption. "You've been served." He dropped the manila envelope on the table in front of her, had her sign a receipt, and walked out. The room went silent. 12 pairs of eyes locked onto the envelope like it was a bomb. Vivian had picked it up with hands that didn't shake. Not yet, and excused herself from the meeting. "Gordon, take over. I'll be back in 10 minutes. She'd made it to her office before the shaking started. Now, 3 hours later, she was still sitting at her desk, staring at the papers spread out in front of her like evidence of a crime she'd committed but hadn't fully understood until this moment. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Petitioner, Noah James Carter. Respondent, Vivian Margaret Sinclair. The words blurred together. She'd read them 17 times and they still didn't make sense. Her assistant Jennifer knocked softly. "Miss Sinclair, the board is asking if you're coming back. Tell them I'm done for the day." "But the quarterly review. Reschedule it." Jennifer hesitated. "Are you okay?" Vivian looked up. Her assistant was 26, fresh out of business school, ambitious and sharp and completely unequipped to handle whatever was happening on her boss's face right now. "I'm fine, just go." Jennifer left. Vivian wasn't fine. She picked up her phone, tried calling Noah again, straight to voicemail. She'd been getting voicemail for 3 days straight now. At first she'd left messages, begging, apologizing, promising to fix everything. Then she just started hanging up. What was the point? He wasn't listening. She scrolled through her texts to him. All of them marked delivered, but not read. He'd turned off read receipts, or blocked her. Probably blocked her. The last message she had sent was 6 hours ago. "Please let me see Emma." No response. Vivian set the phone down and looked around her office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, custom furniture, art that cost more than most people's houses, awards and plaques covering one entire wall. Forbes, 30 under 30. Fortune, most powerful women, Fast Company. Innovation Award, all of it felt completely meaningless. Her phone rang. Not Noah. Damien. She stared at his name on the screen, feeling something dark and ugly coil in her stomach. She answered. "What?" "I heard about the board meeting." His voice was careful, too careful. "Are you okay?" "No, Damien, I'm not okay. My husband just served me with divorce papers in front of the entire board." Silence on the other end. Then, "I'm sorry. Are you?" "Of course I am. Viv, listen. Don't call me that." Only Noah called her Viv. Only Noah had ever called her that. "Vivian," he corrected, "we should talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about." "There's a lot to talk about. This affects the fund. If you and Noah are going through a public divorce, there are optics to consider. PR implications. The investors are going to have questions. I don't care about the investors right now." Damien's voice sharpened. "Well, you should. We're managing $3.2 billion of their money. They care about stability. They care about leadership that has its house in order." Vivian laughed. It came out harsh and broken. "My house isn't in order, Damien. My house is empty. My husband took our daughter and left, and I don't know where they are. He'll cool down. Give him a few days. You don't know him. I know men like him. Pride gets wounded, they make a big dramatic exit, then reality sets in and they come back. Noah isn't like that. Everyone's like that." Vivian closed her eyes. "This conversation is over." "Vivian?" She hung up. Her phone rang again immediately. Damien again. She declined the call. He called back. She turned the phone off and threw it in her desk drawer. The office felt too quiet, too empty, like a tomb. She stood up, grabbed her coat, and walked out. Past Jennifer's desk. Past the conference room where the board was probably still discussing quarterly numbers. Past the junior analysts who looked up as she passed and then quickly looked away, like witnessing something they weren't supposed to see. She took the elevator down 43 floors and walked out into the October evening. The city was alive with people going home to families, to partners, to lives that made sense. Vivian stood on the sidewalk and realized she had nowhere to go. Going home meant facing the empty house, the divorce papers on the kitchen island, the silence where Emma's laughter used to be. She got in her car and drove anyway. The house looked exactly the same as it had 3 nights ago when she'd come home to find Noah standing in the kitchen with papers that would end their marriage. Nothing had changed. Everything had changed. She walked in through the front door, and the silence hit her like a physical thing. "Noah?" she called out, even though she knew he wouldn't answer, even though his car wasn't in the driveway and all the lights were off. Nothing. She walked through the house like a ghost in her own life. Living room, untouched. Kitchen, the divorce papers were gone from the island, but the pen Noah had been holding was still sitting there. Study. His desk was clean. Too clean. He'd taken his laptop. She went upstairs. Their bedroom looked normal until she opened the closet. Half of it was empty. All of Noah's clothes gone. His shoes gone. The watch collection he'd been building since college, gone. She sat down on the floor of the closet and pulled out one of his old t-shirts that he'd left behind, probably by accident. It still smelled like him, like the laundry detergent he insisted on using because it was the same brand his mom had used when he was a kid. Vivian pressed the shirt to her face and cried. She cried for an hour, maybe more, sitting on the closet floor in a $12 million house, wearing a suit that cost $4,000, holding a $10 t-shirt and understanding for the first time what she'd actually lost. Eventually, the tears stopped because there weren't any left. She stood up, washed her face, changed into jeans and a sweater. Then she went to Emma's room. Empty. Not completely empty. The furniture was still there, the bed, the dresser, the bookshelf, but all the life had been sucked out. No stuffed animals on the bed, no books scattered on the floor, no little shoes kicked off by the door. Vivian opened the closet. Half the clothes were gone. The favorite ones. The comfortable ones. The ones Emma actually chose to wear instead of the expensive designer outfits Vivian kept buying. She sat down on Emma's bed and picked up the one stuffed animal Noah had left behind. A small teddy bear that Emma had stopped sleeping with months ago. It was worn and faded and missing one eye. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She'd turned it back on at some point without realizing. Text from Jennifer. "Damien is asking for you. Says it's urgent." Vivian typed back, "Tell him I'm unavailable." Another buzz. Email from the family law attorney she'd called yesterday in a panic. Subject line, "Initial consultation notes." She opened it. The email was clinical, detached, full of legal terms that made her marriage sound like a business transaction being dissolved. Asset division, custody arrangements, spousal support, discovery process. At the bottom, "Given the circumstances you described, I recommend we prepare for a contested divorce. Mr. Carter clearly has legal representation and has been planning this for some time. We need to move quickly to protect your interests." Protect her interests. Like Noah was the enemy now, like their 7 years together meant nothing except numbers to be divided up and parceled out. Vivian closed the email and called the one person she hadn't talked to in 3 days. Her mother answered on the second ring. "Vivian? Sweetheart, I've been trying to reach you." "I know. I'm sorry." "Jennifer called me. She said something happened at work. Are you all right?" "Noah left me." Silence. Then, "What?" "He filed for divorce. He took Emma. They're gone." Her mother's voice changed, got sharper. "He took Emma? Without your permission?" "He's her father, Mom. He doesn't need my permission." "Does he have a lawyer?" "Yes." "Do you?" "Yes." "Good." "What did they say?" Vivian closed her eyes. "They said it's going to be ugly." "How ugly?" "He knows about Damien." The silence on the other end was so complete that Vivian thought the call had dropped. Then her mother spoke, and her voice was ice. "How long?" "How long what?" "How long were you having an affair?" It wasn't. Vivian stopped, took a breath. 6 months. Maybe longer. I don't know. "You don't know. It just happened, Mom. We were working together all the time, and Noah was always busy with Emma, and Damien understood the pressure I was under." "Stop." Her mother's voice was sharp enough to cut. "Don't make excuses. You're 30 years old. You made choices. Now you're dealing with consequences. Vivian felt something crumble inside her chest. I thought you'd be on my side. I am on your side. That's why I'm not going to let you lie to yourself about what happened. You cheated on your husband. He found out. He left. Those are the facts. I know the facts. Do you? Because it sounds like you're still trying to blame everyone except yourself. Vivian's throat closed up. I need to get Emma back. Does Noah know where you are right now? No. Have you tried calling him? 100 times. He blocked me. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then, what do you want me to say, Vivian? That everything's going to be fine? That Noah's going to forgive you and come home? He's not. You broke something that can't be fixed. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I've been married for 35 years. I know what betrayal looks like. I know what it does. Your father and I almost divorced once. Did you know that? Vivian blinked. What? Years ago, before you were born. He had an affair with a colleague. I found out. We separated for 6 months. I didn't know that. Because we don't talk about it. We worked through it. But Vivian, listen to me. It took years. Years of therapy and rebuilding trust and him proving every single day that he was choosing me. And even now, 28 years later, there's a scar. It never fully goes away. Vivian felt tears starting again. What do I do? You let him go. I can't. You have to. He's not coming back. And even if he did, it wouldn't be the same. You killed it. The marriage you had, it's over. The words hit like bullets. Vivian couldn't breathe. I have to go, she managed. Vivian. She hung up. She sat in Emma's empty room for another hour, maybe 2, watching the light fade outside the window. At some point, she went downstairs and opened the refrigerator. Nothing in it except bottled water and takeout containers from restaurants she couldn't remember ordering from. She wasn't hungry anyway. Her phone rang. Damien again. She let it go to voicemail. It rang again. She turned it off. The house was too quiet, too big, too full of memories that hurt to think about. She remembered the day they'd bought it, 3 years ago. Noah had been hesitant about the price. $12 million was insane, he'd said, way more than they needed. But Vivian had insisted. They were successful. They deserved it. Emma deserved to grow up somewhere beautiful. Noah had given in because he always gave in when Vivian pushed. That was the problem, she realized now. She'd pushed and pushed and pushed, and he'd bent and bent and bent, until finally he'd broken. She walked through the house, cataloging the damage. The living room where Emma used to play before Vivian decided the furniture was too expensive for a child to mess up. The dining room where they'd stopped eating family dinners because Vivian was never home. The study where Noah had spent 6 months working alone while Vivian was at the office, or at dinners, or in hotel rooms with Damien. Every room was evidence. She ended up in the kitchen, standing exactly where Noah had stood 3 nights ago when he told her he was leaving. I would have forgiven you, he'd said. If you'd come to me 6 months ago and said you were unhappy, that you'd made a mistake, that you wanted to fix it, I would have tried. But she hadn't. She just kept lying. Vivian pulled out her laptop and opened her email, typed Damien's address into the to field. Then she stopped. What was she going to say? That it was over? He already knew it was over. The divorce papers made that pretty clear. That she regretted it? She did. With every cell in her body, she regretted it. But regret didn't fix anything. That she loved him? She didn't. She'd never loved Damien. He'd been exciting, attentive, available in all the ways Noah hadn't been. But that wasn't love. That was just ego. She deleted the draft and closed the laptop. Her phone buzzed. She'd turned it back on without thinking. Text from an unknown number. Ms. Sinclair, this is Robert Chen, Mr. Carter's attorney. We need to schedule a custody evaluation. Please have your counsel contact my office to arrange a time. Custody evaluation. The words made her feel sick. She typed back, Where's Emma? Is she okay? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Emma is safe and well cared for. All communication regarding your daughter should go through legal counsel. Please have your attorney contact me. Vivian threw her phone across the kitchen. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor, screen cracked but still working. She slid down the cabinet and sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, and let the reality of it all sink in. Noah wasn't coming back. Emma wasn't coming home. The life she'd spent 7 years building was gone, and it was her own fault. Somewhere across the city, Noah was probably putting Emma to bed, reading her a story, tucking her in, doing all the things Vivian had stopped making time for months ago because work was more important, because her career was more important, because she'd convinced herself that being a good provider was the same as being a good mother. It wasn't. She knew that now. Too late, but she knew. Her phone rang from where it had landed across the kitchen. She crawled over to it. Damien. Again. This time she answered. What? Finally, I've been trying to reach you all night. I told you I didn't want to talk. We need to talk. This situation is getting out of control. What situation? My divorce? Our situation, the optics. I spoke with PR and they're recommending we get ahead of this before it becomes a story. Vivian laughed. It sounded unhinged even to her own ears. Get ahead of it? Damien, my husband filed for divorce and cited adultery. It's already a story. Not publicly, it isn't. Yet. But if this goes to trial, I don't care about trial. I don't care about PR. I care about my daughter. I understand that, but do you have kids, Damien? He paused. No. Then you don't understand anything. She hung up, blocked his number, stared at her phone for 30 seconds and then called her attorney. He answered on the third ring. Ms. Sinclair, I wasn't expecting to hear from you until tomorrow. I got a text from Noah's lawyer about a custody evaluation. Yes, I saw. It's standard procedure in contested custody cases. I don't want it to be contested. Silence. I'm sorry? I don't want to fight him for custody. Ms. Sinclair, with all due respect, you're the mother. You have just as much right to custody as he does. More in many jurisdictions. We can make a very strong case. Based on what? The fact that I'm never home? That I've missed every parent-teacher conference for the last year? That I can't remember the last time I put my daughter to bed? Those are factors we can address. No. Vivian's voice was firm. I'm not dragging Emma through a custody battle. She's 6 years old. She needs stability. Noah can give her that. What are you saying? I'm saying I want joint custody, but I want him to have primary physical custody. I'll take whatever visitation he's willing to agree to. Another pause. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. I'll reach out to Mr. Chen in the morning. Vivian hung up and sat in the silence of her empty kitchen, feeling something shift inside her chest. Not relief, not peace, just the smallest acknowledgement that maybe, possibly, she was finally making the right choice, even if it was 6 months too late. The next morning, Vivian woke up on the couch in the living room, still wearing yesterday's clothes, neck cramped from sleeping at a weird angle. Sunlight was streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bright and merciless. Her phone showed 6:47 a.m. She had a board meeting at 9, a lunch with potential investors at noon, a conference call with the Tokyo office at 3. She called Jennifer. Clear my schedule for the week. The entire week? But Ms. Sinclair, the board... Gordon can handle the board. Clear it. Are you sure? Yes. She hung up, took a shower, got dressed in clothes that didn't cost a fortune. Jeans, a sweater, sneakers. Then she got in her car and drove to the one place she thought she might find answers. The cemetery was quiet, the way cemeteries always are. Vivian walked through the gates and down the familiar path to the grave she'd visited exactly 3 times in the 2 years since the funeral. Margaret Carter. Beloved mother and grandmother, 1954 to 2024. Noah's mom. Vivian stood in front of the headstone and felt the weight of everything she'd lost pressing down on her shoulders. I messed up, she said out loud, feeling ridiculous talking to a grave but not knowing what else to do. I messed up so badly, Margaret. You tried to warn me. You told me I was working too much, that I was missing Emma's childhood, that money wasn't everything. I didn't listen. The wind rustled through the trees. A bird called from somewhere nearby. He left me. Noah left me. And he was right to do it. I cheated on him. I lied to him. I took him for granted because I thought he'd always be there. Vivian's voice cracked. I don't know how to fix it. I don't think I can fix it. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't the wife your son deserved. I'm sorry I wasn't the mother Emma deserved. I'm sorry I didn't appreciate what I had until it was gone. She stood there for a long time, crying in front of a headstone, mourning a marriage she'd killed and a life she'd thrown away. When she finally left, the sun was higher in the sky and she felt hollowed out, empty. But maybe that was good. Maybe she needed to be empty before she could figure out how to be full again. She drove back to the city and pulled into the parking lot of the coffee shop where she and Noah used to go when they were young and broke and happy. She hadn't been here in years. Inside, it looked exactly the same. Same mismatched furniture, same chalkboard menu, same smell of espresso and pastries. She ordered a coffee, just coffee, black, the way Noah always drank it, and sat in the corner where they used to sit and plan their future. Her phone buzzed. Email from her attorney. Mr. Chen has responded to our custody proposal. Mr. Carter is agreeable to primary physical custody with a visitation schedule to be determined. He's requesting supervised visitation initially, given the circumstances. Supervised visitation. Vivian closed her eyes and absorbed the blow. She couldn't even be alone with her own daughter until she proved she was trustworthy. She typed back, agreed, whatever he wants. Her attorney responded immediately. Are you certain? Supervised visitation is usually reserved for cases involving abuse or neglect. I'm certain. She sent the email and sat back in her chair, staring at her coffee and understanding that this was rock bottom. This was what it felt like to lose everything that mattered and know it was your own fault. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Mrs. Carter? A young voice. Female, uncertain. This is Vivian Sinclair. Oh, sorry. I'm calling from Riverside Elementary. I'm trying to reach Emma Carter's mother. Vivian's heart stopped. Is Emma okay? Oh yes, she's fine. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. This is Miss Roberts, Emma's teacher. I'm calling because Emma didn't come to school today, and we have her listed for perfect attendance this year. So I just wanted to check in. She didn't come to school? No, ma'am. Is she sick? Vivian's mind raced. I'm not sure. Let me check with her father and call you back. She hung up and immediately called Noah. Straight to voicemail. She tried again. Voicemail. She called his attorney. Mr. Chen, this is Vivian Sinclair. I need to know where my daughter is. Her school called. She's not there. Miss Sinclair, I can't give you that information. All communication needs to go through proper channels. Her school called, Vivian said again, louder. She's not in class. I need to know if she's okay. A pause. I'll reach out to Mr. Carter and have him contact the school. That's not good enough. Click. He'd hung up. Vivian sat in the coffee shop, phone in her hand, heart pounding, realizing that this was her life now, not knowing where her daughter was, not being able to call and check on her, not having the right to know if she was safe. This was what she'd chosen when she'd chosen Damien over her family. Her phone rang. Noah's attorney. Mr. Carter asked me to inform you that Emma is with him. She's taking a personal day. He's allowing her to process recent events at her own pace. Can I talk to her? Not at this time. Please, just for a minute. I just want to hear her voice. Mr. Carter has made it clear that he wants to minimize disruption to Emma's routine while she adjusts to the new living situation. All communication will be facilitated through the custody arrangement once it's finalized. When will that be? We're expediting the process. Should be completed within 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I can't wait 2 weeks to see my daughter. Then I suggest you accept the supervised visitation arrangement as quickly as possible. Good day, Ms. Sinclair. He hung up. Vivian put her head in her hands and cried in a coffee shop where she'd once been happy, surrounded by strangers who pretended not to notice. 2 weeks turned into the longest 14 days of Vivian's life. She showed up to work but couldn't focus. She sat in meetings but didn't hear what people were saying. She signed documents without reading them. Her assistant started sending her calendar invites with subject lines like, important, read this, just to get her attention. On day 9, the board called an emergency meeting. Where am I? The board called in. Vivian sat at the head of the conference table and looked at the 12 faces staring back at her. Some concerned, some annoyed, all of them losing patience. Gordon Martinez, the senior partner who'd been with the fund since day 1, cleared his throat. Vivian, we need to talk about your performance. My performance is fine. Is it? You missed the Tokyo call. You canceled 3 investor meetings. You forgot about the Stanford speaking engagement until they called looking for you. I rescheduled. You can't keep rescheduling your life, Vivian. This fund manages $3.2 billion. Our investors expect consistency. They expect leadership. She looked at him. What do you want me to say, Gordon? That I'm sorry my personal life is affecting my work? I'm sorry, but my marriage is ending and I haven't seen my daughter in 9 days and I'm doing the best I can. The room went silent. A younger partner, Sarah Chen, spoke up. We're not trying to be insensitive. We understand you're going through something difficult, but we're worried about you, and we're worried about the fund. The fund is fine. Is it? Gordon pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Damien came to me yesterday. He's proposing a restructuring. Says you're too distracted to co-manage. He wants to take over primary decision-making authority until you're back on your feet. Vivian grabbed the folder and flipped through it. Every page was a knife in her back. Damien had documented every mistake she'd made in the past 2 weeks, every missed call, every delayed response. He'd built a case for her removal and wrapped it in concern for the fund. This is unbelievable. Is it? Gordon's voice was gentle but firm. Vivian, you're one of the smartest people I know, but you're not yourself right now. Maybe Damien's right. Maybe you need to step back, take some time, get your head straight, and let him take over everything I built. You built it together. No, I built it. He just showed up when it was already successful and convinced everyone he was essential. Sarah leaned forward. That's not fair, Vivian. Damien's been instrumental. Damien slept with me while I was married. You think he won't screw you over the second it benefits him? The room went dead quiet. Gordon closed his eyes. So it's true. You and Damien. Was true, past tense. It's over. Does Noah know? Noah's the one who filed for divorce, so yes, I'd say he knows. Another partner, James Wu, spoke up for the first time. This is a problem. If this becomes public knowledge, if there's testimony in divorce court about an affair between managing partners, our investors are going to lose confidence. They'll pull their money. Then it won't become public knowledge. You can't control what happens in a divorce proceeding, Vivian. If Noah wants to make this ugly, he can. She stood up. This meeting is over. Vivian, I said it's over. I'm not stepping down. I'm not letting Damien take over. And I'm sure as hell not going to sit here and be lectured about my personal life by people who don't know what I'm dealing with. She walked out, leaving 12 shocked faces behind her. In her office, she locked the door and stood at the window looking out at the city. 43 floors up. She could see the whole skyline from here. All those buildings, all those people, all those lives happening simultaneously, and hers was the one falling apart. Her phone buzzed. Text from her attorney. Custody hearing scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Please arrive 30 minutes early to review strategy. Tomorrow. After 9 days of not seeing Emma, not hearing her voice, not knowing if she was okay beyond the clinical updates from Noah's lawyer, tomorrow she'd finally be in the same room as her daughter, even if that room was a courthouse. The hearing took place in a gray conference room that smelled like industrial cleaner and broken dreams. Vivian arrived early with her attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia Reeves, who'd built a career on high-profile divorce cases and didn't lose often. Remember, Patricia said as they waited, stay calm. Don't get emotional. Answer questions directly, but don't volunteer information. And whatever you do, don't let Noah get under your skin. He won't. Good, because this evaluator is going to be watching both of you, how you interact, how you respond to stress, whether you can co-parent civilly. The door opened. Noah walked in with his attorney, Robert Chen, and a woman Vivian didn't recognize. Not Emma, the custody evaluator, probably. She was middle-aged, kind-faced, carrying a folder thick with documents. Noah looked different. Thinner, maybe. Or maybe just tired. He wore jeans and a button-down shirt, the same outfit he used to wear to Emma's school events. He didn't look at Vivian. Didn't acknowledge her at all. Just sat down on the opposite side of the table and stared at his hands. The evaluator introduced herself as Dr. Michelle Torres, a child psychologist who specialized in custody cases. She spent the first 30 minutes going over her findings. I've interviewed both parents separately. I've observed Mr. Carter with Emma on 3 occasions. I've spoken with Emma's teacher, her pediatrician, and several family friends. I've reviewed the living situations both parents are proposing. Vivian tried to breathe normally, tried not to think about what Emma had said during those interviews. Whether she'd asked for her mother, whether she hated her. Dr. Torres looked at her notes. Emma is a well-adjusted, intelligent child. who's currently experiencing significant stress due to the family disruption. She expresses love for both parents, but indicates she feels more secure with her father at this time. The words hit like bullets. She's 6 years old, Vivian said quietly. How can she make that determination? She can't. That's why I'm here. Dr. Torres looked at both parents. In cases like this, my job is to determine what's in the best interest of the child. Not what's fair to the parents, not who made what mistakes, just what will provide the most stability and security for Emma. Noah finally spoke. His voice was steady, emotionless. And what did you determine? I'm recommending primary physical custody to Mr. Carter, with a graduated visitation schedule for Miss Sinclair, starting with supervised visits and moving toward unsupervised weekends as trust is reestablished. Vivian felt her chest constrict. Supervised visits? I'm her mother. You're a mother who, by your own admission, has been largely absent for the past year. Emma needs consistency right now. She needs to know her routine isn't going to keep changing. I can provide consistency. Can you? Dr. Torres looked at her directly. You work 80-hour weeks. You travel extensively for business. You've missed significant school events and parent-teacher conferences. How do you plan to provide daily care for a 6-year-old? I'll cut back on work. I'll make her the priority. That's what Mr. Carter has been doing. Emma's enrolled in a new school near his apartment. She's seeing a child therapist twice a week to process the separation. She has a routine: school, homework, dinner, bath, bedtime, all managed by her father. Vivian looked at Noah. He was still staring at his hands. I can do that too, she said. Dr. Torres softened slightly. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying right now, in this moment, Emma needs stability more than she needs equal time with both parents. As you demonstrate consistent involvement and rebuild trust, the custody arrangement can be modified. Patricia leaned over and whispered, Take the deal. It's better than you'd get in court. Vivian wanted to fight, wanted to argue that she had rights, that Emma was her daughter too, that 6 months of mistakes shouldn't erase 6 years of being a mother. But she looked at Noah and saw the truth in his silence. He'd been there, for bedtimes and breakfast and school drop-offs and homework help, while she'd been in meetings and business dinners and hotel rooms with Damien. Fine, she said. I accept the recommendation. Dr. Torres nodded. Good. I'll file my report with the court. You should have a custody order within a week. She stood to leave, then paused. Miss Sinclair, can I give you some advice? I guess. Your daughter doesn't need you to be perfect. She just needs you to show up, consistently, reliably. Figure out how to do that, and this arrangement can change, but you have to actually do it. Then she was gone. The room cleared out until it was just Vivian and Noah and the lawyers packing up their briefcases. Can I talk to him? Vivian asked Patricia. Alone? Patricia looked uncertain. I don't think that's wise. Please, Patricia sighed. 5 minutes. Don't say anything that could be used against you. The lawyers left. The door closed. Vivian and Noah sat across from each other, separated by 3 feet of table and 7 years of broken promises. You look tired, she said. I am tired. Is Emma okay? She's adjusting. Does she ask about me? Noah finally looked at her. His eyes were empty. Every day? That hurt worse than anything else. What do you tell her? That you love her, that you're going through some stuff, that she'll see you soon. Thank you. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for her. Silence stretched between them. I'm sorry, Vivian said. I know you don't want to hear it, but I am. I'm sorry for everything. Okay. That's it? Just okay? Noah stood up. What do you want me to say, Vivian? That I forgive you? I don't. That I understand? I don't. You had an affair. You lied to me for months. You put our daughter second to your career and your ego and whatever the hell Damien was giving you that I couldn't. It wasn't about you, but it's always about me. That's how marriage works. When you cheat on your spouse, it's about them, about the vows you made and broke, about the trust you destroyed, about the family you decided wasn't enough. Vivian felt tears starting. I didn't mean for it to happen. Nobody ever does, but it happened anyway. And now we're here. He grabbed his jacket. The supervised visits start this Saturday, 1 hour at a neutral location. Don't be late. Noah, wait. He stopped at the door but didn't turn around. Can I ask you something? What? Do you hate me? He was quiet for a long moment. No, I don't hate you. I just don't feel anything for you anymore. And that's worse. He walked out. Vivian sat alone in the gray conference room and understood what he meant. Hate required energy. Hate required caring. What Noah felt was indifference. He'd mourned their marriage and moved on while she was still stuck at the funeral. Saturday came. Vivian arrived at the supervised visitation center 20 minutes early, heart pounding, hands shaking. The center was designed to look cheerful, bright colors, children's artwork on the walls, toys scattered around a play area. But it felt like a prison. A supervisor named Karen explained the rules. 1 hour. No discussing the divorce or the other parent. No physical discipline. No leaving the designated area. Everything would be observed and documented. Observed? There's a camera. Karen pointed to a small dome in the corner. And I'll be in the room. You won't really notice me. This is humiliating. Karen's face softened. I know it feels that way, but it's temporary. If the visit goes well, we'll recommend unsupervised time. The door opened. Noah walked in holding Emma's hand. Vivian's breath caught. Her daughter looked smaller than she remembered. Thinner. She was wearing jeans and a sweater Vivian had never seen before. Her hair was in a ponytail. She was clutching buttons. Emma, Vivian said, standing up. Emma stopped, looked at her mother, looked up at Noah. It's okay, sweetheart, he said gently. You can go say hi to Mommy. Emma walked over slowly, cautiously, like approaching a stranger. Vivian knelt down. Hi, baby. Hi. I missed you so much. I missed you too. They hugged, and Vivian felt something break open in her chest. Emma smelled like strawberry shampoo and laundry detergent and home. She felt so small in Vivian's arms, so fragile. You okay? Vivian whispered. Emma nodded against her shoulder but didn't say anything. Noah spoke from the doorway. I'll be back in an hour. Noah. 1 hour, Vivian. He left. Karen settled into a chair in the corner with a magazine. Emma pulled away from the hug and looked around the room. What do you want to do, sweetheart? Vivian asked. Can we color? Of course. They sat at one of the small tables. Karen brought over coloring books and crayons. Emma picked a picture of a butterfly and started filling it in with careful, deliberate strokes. Purple wings, green body, yellow antenna. Vivian just watched her, tried to memorize everything. The way she bit her lip when she concentrated, the way she hummed under her breath, the way she chose each crayon like it mattered. You're a really good artist, Vivian said. Thanks. Miss Roberts says I should enter the school art show. You should. I'd love to see it. Emma kept coloring. Daddy says you're really busy with work. I am, but I'm going to try to be less busy so I can spend more time with you. Okay? They colored in silence for a while. Emma finished the butterfly and started on a picture of a house. She colored it blue. Is that our house? Vivian asked. No, it's Daddy's apartment. We have our own room and everything. That sounds nice. It is. Daddy lets me help cook dinner, and we go to the park every day after school, and on Saturdays we get pancakes. Each sentence was a reminder of everything Vivian had missed, everything she'd chosen not to be part of. I'm glad you and Daddy are having fun together. Emma looked up. Are you sad? A little bit, but I'm happy you're okay. Daddy cries sometimes. Vivian's heart stopped. He does? Yeah, when he thinks I'm asleep. I can hear him in the living room. Vivian closed her eyes. She'd done that. She'd broken a man who'd loved her enough to cry in private so his daughter wouldn't see. Daddy's going through a hard time too, she managed. Because you guys are getting divorced? Yeah. Madison's parents got divorced and now she has 2 houses and 2 Christmases. She says it's not so bad. Maybe it won't be so bad for us either. Emma went back to coloring. Can I ask you something? Anything, sweetheart. Do you still love Daddy? The question hit like a punch to the stomach. Vivian thought about lying, about saying the right thing, but Emma deserved honesty. I do, but sometimes love isn't enough to make things work. Why not? Because people make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes hurt too much to fix. Emma considered this. Did you make a mistake? Yes, a big one. Did you say sorry? I did. And Daddy didn't forgive you? Vivian felt tears starting. Not yet. Maybe not ever, and that's okay, because some things can't be forgiven. Emma put down her crayon. I forgive you. Baby, you didn't do anything. I know, but you're sad and Daddy's sad, and I don't want everyone to be sad forever. So I forgive you. Vivian pulled her daughter into her arms and cried. Actually cried. Right there in the supervised visitation center with Karen pretending not to notice in the corner. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, Emma. They spent the rest of the hour playing with dolls and building block towers and reading books. Normal things. Easy things. Things Vivian should have been doing all along. When Noah came back, Emma ran to him and threw her arms around his waist. Did you have fun? He asked. Yeah, Mommy and I colored and played and read stories. That's great, Em. Go get your jacket. Emma skipped off to get her things. Noah looked at Vivian. Thank you for bringing her, Vivian said. It's court-ordered. I didn't have a choice. Still, Karen approached with the clipboard. The visit went well. Emma was comfortable and engaged. I'll recommend we move to twice-weekly visits, still supervised, and reassess in a month. Noah nodded. Whatever you think is best. Emma came back wearing her jacket, buttons tucked under her arm. She hugged Vivian goodbye. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, baby, so much. Will I see you again soon? Yes, very soon. Emma and Noah left. Vivian stood in the cheerful room with its bright colors and children's artwork and felt the weight of everything she'd lost pressing down until she could barely breathe. The next few weeks passed in a blur of supervised visits and court appearances and lawyers arguing about asset division. The house sold, the bank accounts were split, the retirement funds got divided. Their 7-year marriage reduced to spreadsheets and legal documents. Through it all, Vivian went to work and pretended to function. The board was watching her like hawks. Damien had started openly positioning himself as the steady hand while she was falling apart. She could feel the power slipping away. On a Tuesday in late November, 3 weeks after the custody hearing, everything came to a head. Vivian was in her office when Damien walked in without knocking. We need to talk. I'm busy. The board is voting tomorrow on whether to restructure leadership. She looked up. What? Gordon called me this morning, said they're concerned about your ability to lead. They want to vote on giving me primary authority over fund decisions. They can't do that. They can. You've missed 4 major investor meetings. You signed off on a deal without reading the terms. You're bleeding clients because you're not returning calls. I'm going through a divorce, and that's unfortunate, but it doesn't change the fact that you're not capable of running this fund right now. Vivian stood up, walked around her desk until she was standing inches from him. You want to know why I'm not capable? Because I'm dealing with the fallout from sleeping with you. Because I'm fighting to see my own daughter. Because I destroyed my marriage for someone who's now trying to take everything I built. I'm not taking anything. I'm trying to save the fund you're destroying. Get out. Vivian, get out of my office. Now. He left. The door clicked shut behind him. Vivian sat back down and put her head in her hands. She'd lost her husband, lost her daughter, and now she was losing her company too. Her phone rang. Noah's attorney. Ms. Sinclair, I'm calling about the final divorce hearing. It's scheduled for December 10th. Both parties need to be present. Fine. There's one more thing. Mr. Carter wanted me to inform you that he's been in contact with Damian Cross. Vivian's blood went cold. What? Apparently, Mr. Cross showed up at Mr. Carter's apartment last week, wanted to talk. Mr. Carter declined, but he thought you should know that Mr. Cross is attempting to make contact. Why would Damian do that? I can't speculate, but Mr. Carter wanted you to be aware. The call ended. Vivian immediately dialed Damian. He answered on the first ring. Before you yell, what the hell were you doing at Noah's apartment? I was trying to smooth things over. Make him understand that what happened between us doesn't need to become public. You tried to pay him off. I tried to be reasonable. You went to my husband and tried to make a deal so your reputation wouldn't get damaged in the divorce. Do you hear yourself? Vivian, if this goes to trial and he testifies about the affair, we're both finished. The fund, our reputations, everything. I was trying to protect us. There is no us, Damien. There never was. She hung up and sat in her office while the city got dark outside her window. 43 floors up, and she'd never felt lower. That night, she went home to the empty house and poured herself a drink. Then another. Then a third. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "This is Claire Donovan. I'm a friend of Noah's. He asked me to reach out about Emma's birthday party next month. He wants to make sure you're invited, but didn't want to text you directly. The party is December 14th at 2 p.m. Let me know if you'll be there." Vivian stared at the message. Who was Claire Donovan? How long had Noah known her? Were they dating? The thought made her feel sick. She typed back, "I'll be there. Thank you." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Great. Emma will be happy. See you then." Vivian set the phone down and drank until she couldn't feel anything anymore. The board vote happened on a Wednesday morning while Vivian sat in her office pretending to review quarterly reports. She knew what the outcome would be before Jennifer knocked on her door with that particular expression people get when they're about to deliver bad news but want to seem sympathetic. "They're ready for you," Jennifer said. Vivian stood up, straightened her suit jacket, and walked into the conference room where 12 people sat around a table that cost more than most people's yearly salary. Gordon didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Vivian, the board has voted to restructure fund leadership. Effective immediately, Damien will assume primary decision-making authority. You'll retain your title and partnership stake, but all major fund decisions will require his approval." She'd expected it, had known it was coming, but hearing it out loud still felt like getting punched. "I built this fund," she said quietly. "You did, and you can build it again, once you get your personal situation sorted out." Gordon's voice wasn't unkind, just final. "This isn't permanent. It's a temporary measure to ensure stability while you deal with your divorce. Temporary until Damien makes it permanent. That's not fair, isn't it? He's been positioning for this since the second my marriage started falling apart. You all know it. You're just too polite to say it out loud." Sarah Chen spoke up. "Vivian, we're trying to help you. You're not yourself right now. Take some time. Focus on your family situation. When you're ready to come back full force, we'll revisit this." Vivian looked around the table at faces she'd worked alongside for years. Some looked guilty. Some looked relieved. None of them looked like they were going to change their minds. "Fine," she said. "I'll take some time." She walked out of the conference room, past Jennifer's desk, into her office. She packed her laptop, her notebook, the one photo she kept on her desk. Emma, at age 3, covered in finger paint, laughing at something Noah had said off camera. Damien was waiting in the hallway when she came out. "Vivian, wait. Don't. I didn't want it to happen this way." She stopped, looked at him. Really looked at him for the first time since everything exploded. He was handsome in that generic successful man way. Good suit, good haircut, good teeth. Everything about him was polished and careful and completely empty. "Yes, you did," she said. "You wanted exactly this. You saw an opportunity and you took it. That's what you do. That's what you've always done." "That's not true." "It is true. I was just too blind to see it. You never cared about me. You cared about what I could do for you, the connections, the influence, the power." She laughed, and it sounded broken. "I destroyed my marriage for someone who was using me the whole time. That's almost funny." "Vivian, we're done, professionally and personally. Don't call me, don't text me. If you need to communicate about fund business, go through Jennifer." She walked away and didn't look back. In the parking garage, she sat in her car and let herself fall apart. Not crying, something worse. The kind of breakdown that's too deep for tears. Just sitting there in the expensive car in the expensive garage, attached to the expensive building where she'd just lost everything that wasn't her daughter. And she barely had her daughter either. Her phone buzzed. Text from her attorney. "Final divorce hearing confirmed for December 10th, 9 a.m. Judge Martinez presiding. Please review settlement documents I sent yesterday." Vivian hadn't reviewed them. Hadn't been able to make herself look at the legal dissolution of 7 years reduced to asset splits and custody schedules. She drove home, not to the lakefront house, which had sold 2 weeks ago to a tech executive and his young wife who probably thought they'd be different, that their marriage would survive the money and success. She drove to the condo she'd rented downtown. 2 bedrooms, modern, soulless. Nothing like a home. Inside, she opened her laptop and finally read the settlement documents. It was all there, in black and white. Noah got the majority of their liquid assets since he'd need it to provide for Emma. Vivian kept her partnership stake in the fund, for whatever that was worth now. They'd split the proceeds from the house sale. Noah got primary custody. Vivian got every other weekend plus alternating holidays once the supervised visits ended. Every other weekend. She'd get to be a real mother to her daughter every other weekend. The documents required both signatures. Noah had already signed his parts, his handwriting neat and careful, the same way he'd signed their marriage certificate 7 years ago. Vivian picked up a pen and signed. Each signature felt like a small death. The days blurred together after that. Vivian went through the motions, supervised visits with Emma twice a week, work calls she couldn't focus on, therapy sessions her lawyer insisted on, nights alone in the condo wondering how she'd ended up here. December came with cold rain that turned the city gray and miserable. On December 10th, Vivian dressed in a navy suit and drove to the courthouse. She arrived early, sat in her car, and tried to prepare herself for seeing Noah in an official capacity for the last time. Inside, the courtroom was smaller than she expected. Just a judge's bench, a few tables, some chairs. Noah was already there with Robert Chen talking quietly. He looked up when she entered. Their eyes met for maybe half a second before he looked away. Patricia touched her arm. "You ready?" "No." "That's normal. Just breathe. This should be quick since you've agreed to everything." The judge arrived, a tired-looking woman in her 50s who'd probably seen 1,000 marriages end in this same room. She reviewed the documents, asked both parties if they understood the terms, and entered into the agreement willingly. "Yes, Your Honor," Noah said. "Yes, Your Honor," Vivian echoed. "Any changes to the proposed settlement?" "No, Your Honor." "No, Your Honor." The judge signed the papers. "By the power vested in me by the state, I hereby grant the dissolution of marriage between Noah James Carter and Vivian Margaret Sinclair. The marriage is officially dissolved as of today's date. Custody arrangements, as outlined in the settlement agreement, will take effect immediately. Both parties are bound by the terms of this agreement." She banged her gavel. Just like that, it was over. 7 years. One gavel. Done. Noah stood up, shook hands with his attorney, and walked out without a word to Vivian. She sat there for a moment, unable to move. Patricia gathered the papers. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I don't know." "That's honest, at least. Listen, you did the right thing. Not fighting him on custody, accepting the settlement terms. It shows you're putting Emma first. Or it shows I knew I'd lose if I fought." Patricia didn't argue with that. In the courthouse hallway, Vivian saw Noah waiting by the elevators. She walked over before she could talk herself out of it. "Noah." He turned. "What?" "I just wanted to say, I don't know, that I'm sorry. That seems inadequate." "It is inadequate, but I appreciate you saying it anyway. Are you okay?" "I'm divorced from someone who cheated on me. How okay do you think I am?" "Fair point." Vivian looked at the floor. "Emma's birthday party is this weekend." "Yeah. This Claire person texted me about it." "I know. I asked her to." "Who is she?" Noah's jaw tightened. "Does it matter?" "I'm just asking." "She's a friend. She's been helping with Emma while I figure things out. That's all you need to know." "Are you dating her?" "That's none of your business. She's around my daughter. Our daughter. And yes, she's around Emma sometimes. She's kind to her. Emma likes her. That's more than I can say about Damien's presence in our marriage." The comment landed like a slap. "I deserve that," Vivian said. "You deserve a lot worse than that. But I'm not going to give it to you because I'm tired, Vivian. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of thinking about what you did. I just want to move on with my life." With Claire, Noah stepped closer. His voice dropped low and hard. "What I do with my life is no longer your concern. We're divorced. We're co-parents. That's it. I don't owe you explanations about who I spend time with. I'm not trying to start a fight. Then don't ask me about Claire. Don't ask about my personal life. Show up for Emma's party. Be civil, and we'll all get through this." The elevator arrived. Noah stepped in and pressed the button. The doors started to close. "I really am sorry," Vivian said. Noah looked at her with those empty eyes. "I know you are. It just doesn't change anything." The doors closed. Vivian stood in the empty hallway and felt the finality of it settle into her bones. He was done with her, completely done. Not angry anymore, not hurt, just indifferent. She'd finally gotten what she deserved. The days between the divorce and Emma's birthday party were some of the longest of Vivian's life. She kept working, but it felt meaningless. She went to supervised visits with Emma and tried to be present, but her mind kept drifting to the party, to meeting Claire, to watching Noah with someone new. On the morning of December 14th, she woke up early in the soulless condo and stared at the ceiling. Her daughter was turning 7. 7 years ago, Vivian had given birth after 18 hours of labor with Noah holding her hand the whole time, telling her she was strong, that she could do this, that he loved her. Now she'd be attending her daughter's birthday party as a divorced woman meeting her ex-husband's new girlfriend. She got dressed carefully, not too formal, not trying too hard. Jeans and a nice sweater, minimal makeup. She wrapped Emma's present, a art set she'd seen her daughter eyeing at the supervised visits, and drove to the address Claire had texted her. An apartment complex on the east side of the city. Nice but not extravagant. The kind of place where actual families lived, not billionaires trying to prove something. Vivian found the right unit and knocked. The door opened. A woman stood there. Early 30s, long dark hair, warm smile, wearing jeans and a sweater that probably cost $40 instead of $400. "You must be Vivian," she said. "I'm Claire. Come in." The apartment was bright and lived in. Kids' artwork on the fridge, photos on the walls, a couch that looked comfortable instead of expensive. Through the doorway, Vivian could see the living room where balloons were tied to chairs and a banner read, "Happy Birthday, Emma," in rainbow letters. Emma's voice came from somewhere deeper in the apartment. "Is that Mommy?" "It is," Claire called back. Emma came running around the corner and threw herself at Vivian. "You came!" "Of course I came, sweetheart. Happy birthday. I'm 7 now. Daddy made me pancakes this morning with candles in them. And Claire helped me make cupcakes last night. Want to see?" Before Vivian could answer, Emma grabbed her hand and pulled her into the kitchen. Noah was there, putting candles on a cake. He looked up when they entered. "Hi," Vivian said. "Hi." He went back to the candles. "Emma, go finish setting up the games with Claire. Your friends will be here soon." Emma ran off. Vivian stood awkwardly in the kitchen doorway. "Nice place," she said. "It works. Emma seems happy here." "She is." "That's good. That's really good." Noah set down the candle box and looked at her. "Vivian, you don't have to do this." "Do what?" "Make small talk. Pretend this isn't weird." "It's weird. We both know it's weird. Just be civil and get through the party." "Right, okay." She went back to the living room. Claire was helping Emma pin a tail on the donkey poster to the wall. They were laughing about something. Emma looked lighter than Vivian had seen her in months. "Can I help?" Vivian asked. Claire turned. "Sure, can you blow up these balloons? Emma wants them everywhere." They worked in companionable silence for a few minutes. Then Claire spoke. "I know this must be hard for you." Vivian looked at her. "What must be hard?" "Being here. Seeing Emma in Noah's space. Meeting me." Claire's voice was kind but direct. "I'm not trying to replace you. I just want you to know that. Are you and Noah dating? We're getting there, slowly. He's been pretty clear that Emma comes first, and he's not ready to rush into anything." "How long have you known him?" "About 2 months. We met at Emma's school. My nephew is in her class. Noah and I started talking at pickup one day and became friends. 2 months." While Vivian was falling apart, Noah was meeting someone new. Someone who made cupcakes with his daughter and helped with birthday parties, and probably didn't work 80-hour weeks or cheat with business partners. "She's lucky," Vivian heard herself say. "Emma, to have you around." Claire's expression softened. "She talks about you all the time, you know, how smart you are, how you built a whole company, how you're going to come to her art show at school. I didn't know she had an art show. Next month, January 15th. Noah's planning to go. I'll be there too." "Good. She'd love that." The doorbell rang. Kids started arriving with parents in tow, classmates from Emma's new school that Vivian had never met. She stood to the side watching Emma introduce her friends to my dad and Claire, and eventually, awkwardly, my mom. One mother looked confused. "I thought Claire was Emma's mom." "No, I'm..." Vivian started. I'm a family friend, Claire said smoothly. This is Emma's mom, Vivian. The mother smiled politely and moved on. Vivian felt like she'd been punched. The party continued, games and cake and presents and sugar-high children running around while adults made conversation. Vivian tried to engage, but she felt like a ghost at her own daughter's birthday party. She watched Noah lift Emma onto his shoulders so she could pop a balloon, watched Claire wipe frosting off a kid's face with a wet paper towel, watched other parents talk and laugh like this was normal, like families didn't fall apart and reform with different people. At one point, Emma opened presents. She got to Vivian's gift, the art set, and her face lit up. Mom, this is perfect. Look, Daddy, it has watercolors and everything. That's great, Em, Noah said, glancing at Vivian. Something passed across his face. Not quite gratitude, maybe acknowledgement. Can Claire help me try them later? Emma asked. Vivian felt something twist in her chest. I'm sure she'd love to. Actually, Claire said gently, maybe your mom could help you with them at your next visit. She probably knows more about art than I do. Emma looked at Vivian. Would you? Of course, sweetheart. We can do whatever you want. The party wound down. Parents collected their kids. The apartment got quieter. Emma was crashed on the couch, surrounded by torn wrapping paper and new toys, fighting to keep her eyes open. I should go, Vivian said. Noah walked her to the door. They stood in the hallway. Thank you for coming, he said. It meant a lot to her. Of course, she's my daughter. I know, I appreciate you being here. Being civil, not making it weird. Claire seems nice. She is. Do you love her? Noah's jaw tightened. Don't do this. I'm just asking. No, you're not just asking. You're trying to figure out if I've moved on, if I'm over you. And the answer is, I don't know yet. I'm trying. Claire is kind and patient and good with Emma. She doesn't play games. She doesn't lie. She shows up. He paused. She's everything you weren't. The words hurt more than anything he'd said in court. I'm trying to be better, Vivian said quietly. For Emma. I know, and I see it. But trying doesn't erase what happened. It just means you're finally doing what you should have been doing all along. Will you ever forgive me? Noah looked at her for a long moment. I don't know. Maybe someday. But forgiveness doesn't mean we get back together. It doesn't mean we're friends. It just means I stop carrying around what you did to me. That's fair. Yeah, it is. Vivian left, walked to her car, sat in the driver's seat and watched through the apartment window as Claire helped Emma into her pajamas. As Noah cleaned up the party mess, as they moved around each other with an ease that Vivian and Noah had lost years ago. She drove back to her condo and spent the evening alone, thinking about what Noah had said. Claire was everything she wasn't, present, honest. There. The realization that hurt the most was that she didn't blame him, not even a little bit. She'd had a man who loved her, a daughter who needed her, and a family that should have been enough. And she'd thrown it all away for what? Career advancement? Ego? The thrill of something forbidden? None of it had been worth it. Her phone buzzed. Text from Emma, sent from Noah's phone. Thank you for my present, Mommy. I love you. Can we paint together next time? Vivian typed back. We can do whatever you want, sweetheart. I love you too. 3 dots appeared. Then, this is Noah. She wanted to thank you herself. The art set was a good choice. I remembered she liked art. Yeah, she does. A pause. Then, I know today was hard. Thank you for handling it well. I'm trying. I know. Keep trying. The conversation ended. Vivian sat in her empty condo and thought about the life she'd lost. The husband who'd loved her. The daughter she'd neglected. The family she'd taken for granted until it was gone. She couldn't get it back. That door was closed. Noah had made that clear. But maybe she could build something new. Not the same. Never the same. But something real, something honest. Starting with showing up. The next week, Vivian did something she hadn't done in over a year. She called Emma's school and asked to speak with Miss Roberts. This is Vivian Sinclair, Emma Carter's mother. I wanted to ask about the art show in January. Oh, Miss Sinclair. Yes, Emma's submitted a beautiful piece, a watercolor of butterflies. She's been working so hard on it. I'd like to volunteer to help set up. If you need volunteers. Miss Roberts sounded surprised. That would be wonderful. We always need parent helpers. What do I need to do? Just show up on January 14th around 3 p.m. We'll put up the artwork and arrange the space. I'll be there. Emma will be so excited. She talks about you all the time, how successful you are, how you run a big company. Vivian felt her throat tighten. I'm taking a step back from the company to focus more on Emma. That's lovely. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. After the call ended, Vivian sat at her desk, not at the fund office, which she rarely went to anymore, but in the second bedroom of her condo that she'd converted into a home office, and made a decision. She called Gordon. Vivian, how are you? I'm resigning from the fund. Silence. What? I'm resigning, effective immediately. I'll sell my partnership stake back to the fund. Whatever the terms are, I'll accept them. Vivian, you don't have to do this. The restructuring was temporary. It wasn't temporary, and we both know it. Damien won. That's fine. He can have it. I'm done. What will you do? I don't know yet. Figure out how to be a mother. Maybe start something new eventually. Something smaller. Something that doesn't consume my entire life. Gordon was quiet. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Okay. I'll have the lawyers draw up the documents. She hung up and felt something release in her chest. Not relief exactly. More like acceptance. The fund had been her identity for so long, but it had also been her excuse. Work had been the reason she couldn't make it to Emma's school events, the reason she couldn't be home for dinner, the reason she'd spent so much time with Damien. All of it had been a choice, and she'd made the wrong ones. Now she was making a different choice. That evening, she went to her supervised visit with Emma. Karen smiled when she arrived. Big news, the court approved unsupervised visits. Starting next week, you can take Emma for full weekends. Every other weekend, like the custody agreement specifies. Vivian felt tears starting. Really? Really. You've been consistent. You've shown up. Emma trusts you again. That's what matters. When Emma arrived, Vivian told her the news. We get whole weekends together? Just us? Just us. What do you want to do? Emma thought about it. Can we go to the aquarium and get ice cream and paint with my new art set? We can do all of that. Emma threw her arms around Vivian's waist. I missed having weekends with you, Mommy. I missed it too, baby. I'm sorry it took so long. It's okay. Daddy says you're trying really hard, and that's what matters. Vivian looked up and saw Noah in the doorway. He'd heard the exchange. Their eyes met. He nodded once. Just once. But it felt like something. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just acknowledgement that she was trying. That it mattered. It wasn't much. But right now, it was enough. The first unsupervised weekend came in early January, right after the new year. Vivian picked Emma up from Noah's apartment on Friday evening, her hands shaking slightly as she buckled her daughter into the car seat she'd installed that morning after watching 3 YouTube tutorials. You got everything? Noah asked, standing in the doorway with a backpack full of Emma's things. I think so. Clothes, buttons, her toothbrush, her allergy medicine. She takes it before bed. Right, I have it. Noah handed her the backpack. She's been excited all week. Me too. They stood there awkwardly. This was new territory. Co-parenting without lawyers or supervisors. Just 2 people trying to raise a kid they both loved while navigating the wreckage of what they used to be. If anything comes up, Noah started, I'll call you. Okay? He leaned into the car. Be good for Mom, okay, Em? I will, Daddy. Love you. Love you too, sweetheart. Vivian drove away, checking the rearview mirror obsessively, like Emma might disappear if she stopped looking. In the mirror, she could see Noah standing in the parking lot, watching them leave. The condo felt different with Emma in it. Less empty. More like something that could become a home if given enough time and attention. They ordered pizza and ate it on the couch while watching a movie Emma picked out. Later, they set up the art supplies at the kitchen table and painted together, Emma working on butterflies for her school art show, Vivian attempting a landscape that looked more like a car accident than a sunset. That's really bad, Mom, Emma said, giggling. I know. I'm terrible at this. It's okay, you're good at other stuff. Like what? Emma thought about it. You're really good at explaining things, and you give the best hugs, and you always smell nice. Vivian felt something crack open in her chest. Thank you, baby. And you're trying really hard to be here more. Daddy says that matters. What else does Daddy say? Emma concentrated on painting a butterfly wing. He says you made mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes. And that you're still my mom, and you love me, and that's important. Vivian had to look away before Emma saw her crying. Your dad is a good person. I know, so are you. I don't know about that. You are. You're just sad sometimes, but that's okay. Miss Roberts says everyone gets sad sometimes. They painted until Emma started yawning. Bath time, pajamas, teeth brushing, all the small rituals Vivian had forgotten how to do. She tucked Emma into the guest bedroom she'd converted into Emma's room, complete with new sheets covered in stars and a nightlight shaped like a moon. Mom, Emma said as Vivian turned out the light. Yes, sweetheart? I'm glad I get to stay with you now. Me too, baby. Sweet dreams. That night, Vivian lay in her own bed listening to Emma breathe in the next room and felt something she hadn't felt in months. Not happiness exactly, not peace, but maybe the beginning of both. The art show arrived on a cold Thursday in mid-January. Vivian left work early, from the consulting job she'd taken after leaving the fund, something part-time and flexible that let her actually have a life outside an office. She arrived at the school at 3 p.m., dressed in jeans and a sweater, carrying a box of supplies she'd picked up from the craft store. Miss Roberts greeted her at the door. Ms. Sinclair, thank you so much for coming. We can use all the help we can get. They spent the next 2 hours hanging artwork, arranging tables, setting up the refreshment station. Other parents were there too, some Vivian recognized from Emma's birthday party. They made small talk. Someone asked what she did for work. I'm a consultant, Vivian said. Business strategy, part-time. That must be nice, having flexibility. It is. I needed to step back from my old job, spend more time with my daughter. The woman smiled. That's wonderful. My husband did the same thing last year. Best decision we ever made. By 5 p.m., the gym was transformed. Colorful artwork covered the walls. Emma's butterfly painting hung in a place of honor, the watercolors bright and cheerful and so clearly made by a 7-year-old who was happy. Families started arriving. Emma ran up to Vivian and threw her arms around her waist. Mom, you helped set up. I did. Your painting looks beautiful. Wait until Daddy and Claire get here. I want to show them too. The mention of Claire still stung, but less than before. Vivian had seen her a few more times at pickups and drop-offs. They'd had actual conversations. About Emma, mostly, but also about life. Claire was studying to be an architect. She'd been divorced once before, no kids, understood complicated situations. She wasn't the enemy. She was just someone who'd shown up when Noah needed someone. Noah and Claire arrived 10 minutes later. Emma dragged them both to her painting, talking a mile a minute about the techniques she'd used and how Miss Roberts had said it was the best in the class. Vivian stood back and watched. Noah's hand was on Claire's lower back, casual, comfortable. The gesture of someone who'd moved past the early stages and into something real. It hurt, but not as much as Vivian expected. Claire caught her eye and smiled, walked over while Noah and Emma looked at other artwork. The painting is beautiful, Claire said. She worked really hard on it. I know, she practiced at our place too. Claire paused. Our place? That sounded presumptuous. It's fine. You're a part of Emma's life now. That's good. Is it weird? Me being here? Vivian considered lying, decided on honesty. A little, but I'm getting used to it. You make him happy. That's what matters. He still loves you, you know. Vivian's head snapped up. What? Claire's expression was kind but direct. Not in the way he used to. Not in the way where you could get back together, but you were a huge part of his life. You gave him Emma. That doesn't just disappear. He told you about the affair. He told me about all of it. I asked him to be honest about what ended his marriage. He was. And you still wanted to be with him? His ex-wife cheated on him. He didn't cheat on anyone. Why would that change how I feel about him? Vivian didn't have an answer for that. For what it's worth, Claire continued, I think you're doing a good job. With Emma. With trying to rebuild. That takes courage. Or just basic human decency as a parent. Same thing sometimes. Noah called Claire over to look at something. She squeezed Vivian's arm once before walking away. The art show ended around 7. Emma was exhausted but happy. clutching a ribbon for outstanding use of color that Miss Roberts had given her. Noah offered to take her home since it was his night. Unless you want to keep her, he asked Vivian. No, it's your night. Schedule is schedule. Okay. He paused. Thanks for helping set up. Emma hasn't stopped talking about it. I should have been doing it all along. Yeah, but you're doing it now. That counts for something. They looked at each other. Not with love, not with hate, just with the complicated understanding of two people who'd built something together, destroyed it, and were now trying to figure out how to exist in the aftermath. Is she happy? Vivian asked quietly. Really happy? Noah glanced at Emma, who was showing Claire her ribbon. Most of the time, she misses having us together, but she's adjusting. That's all we can ask for, I guess. Yeah, it is. The months that followed developed a rhythm. Every other weekend, Vivian had Emma. They went to museums and parks and movies. They cooked together, badly at first, but improving. They painted and read and talked about school and friends and life. Vivian learned about Emma's favorite teacher and the boy who pulled her hair at recess and the fact that she secretly wanted to learn violin but was afraid to ask because lessons were expensive. Baby, money isn't an issue, Vivian said. If you want violin lessons, we'll get you violin lessons. Really? Really? They signed up the next week. Every Wednesday after school, Vivian picked Emma up and drove her to lessons. Then they got ice cream and talked about the day. It became their thing, their routine. Work became less central. Vivian's consulting clients got used to her boundaries. No calls after 6 p.m., no weekend work, no sacrificing her daughter's events for business meetings. Some clients dropped her. She didn't care. The ones who stayed valued the actual work, not the performance of constant availability. She made less money, lived in a smaller place, drove a normal car instead of the Tesla she'd sold, and discovered she didn't miss any of it. What she missed was the person she'd been before the ambition and the money and the affairs, before she'd convinced herself that being important at work was more important than being present at home. One Saturday in March, Vivian took Emma to the park. They were on the swings when Emma said something that stopped her cold. Mom, can I ask you something? Always. Why did you and Daddy get divorced? Vivian had been dreading this question. Emma had asked simplified versions before, but never this directly. That's a complicated question, sweetheart. I'm 7 now. I can understand complicated. Vivian slowed her swing. Your dad and I stopped being good partners to each other. We forgot how to make each other happy. Did you fight a lot? Not really. We just stopped paying attention to what mattered. What matters? Being there. Being honest. Choosing each other every day. Vivian looked at her daughter. I made mistakes, Emma. Big ones. I wasn't there for you and Daddy the way I should have been. And by the time I realized it, I'd hurt people too much to fix it. Emma was quiet, processing. Do you wish you were still married? I wish I'd made better choices, but I can't change the past. I can only try to be better now. Are you being better? I'm trying. Am I doing okay? Emma nodded. Yeah, you're doing really good, Mom. Vivian pulled her into a hug right there on the swings and held on tight. That evening, dropping Emma back at Noah's apartment, she lingered at the door. Can I talk to you for a minute? She asked Noah. Sure. Em, go put your stuff away. Emma ran inside. Noah stepped into the hallway, pulling the door mostly closed behind him. What's up? Emma asked me today why we got divorced. Noah's expression tightened. What did you tell her? The truth. Age-appropriate version, that I made mistakes, that I wasn't there for you both the way I should have been. How'd she take it? Better than I expected. She's resilient. She is. She gets that from you. Vivian looked at him. From me? You think I don't see what you're doing? Rebuilding your whole life? That takes strength. Emma sees it too. I'm just trying to be a decent parent. You're being more than decent. He leaned against the doorframe. I'm not going to lie and say I've forgiven you. I haven't. Maybe I never will completely. But I see you showing up. I see you putting her first. That matters. Are you happy? Vivian asked. With Claire? Noah smiled slightly. It was the first time she'd seen him smile in months. Yeah, I am. She's good for me. Good for Emma. It's not what I thought my life would look like, but it's good. I'm glad. Really. Are you? Glad? I'm trying to be. You deserve to be happy. You deserve better than what I gave you. Noah studied her face. You're different. I hope so. It's weird, seeing you like this, without the armor. The armor didn't protect me from anything that mattered. No, it didn't. They stood in the hallway, two people who'd loved each other once, destroyed each other later, and were now finding their way to something like acceptance. I should go, Vivian said. Yeah, thanks for bringing her back on time. I always will. That's a promise. I believe you. Spring came. The city woke up from winter with blossoms and longer days. Vivian's consulting business was stable. Not exciting, not prestigious, but sustainable. She had time for Emma's school events, for weekend trips to her parents' house, for the occasional lunch with Jennifer, who'd quit the fun 3 weeks after Vivian left and was now working at a nonprofit and much happier. You look different, Jennifer said over coffee. Lighter. I feel different, like I finally figured out what actually matters, which is showing up, being present, not missing my daughter's childhood because I'm too busy being important. Jennifer smiled. The fund is a mess, by the way. Damien's losing clients left and right. Turns out people don't trust someone who sleeps with married colleagues. Good. Harsh. He earned it. They talked about other things, Jennifer's new job, her dating life, weekend plans, normal things, the kind of conversation Vivian used to be too busy for. In May, Emma's school had a mother-daughter breakfast. Vivian took the morning off, showed up in jeans and a sweater, and sat at a tiny chair at a tiny table eating pancakes with her daughter and 20 other mother-daughter pairs. Emma introduced her to her friends. This is my mom. She used to run a big company, but now she does consulting so she can come to stuff like this. One of the other mothers said, That's wonderful. So many parents miss these things. Vivian looked at Emma, who was beaming. Yeah, I used to miss them. Not anymore. After breakfast, walking Emma back to class, her daughter slipped her hand into Vivian's. Thanks for coming, Mom. I wouldn't miss it. I know, that's why it's special. By summer, the custody arrangement had evolved. Noah and Vivian had developed an actual co-parenting relationship, texting about Emma's activities, coordinating schedules, even occasionally having actual conversations that weren't just logistical. Claire was a fixture now. Engaged to Noah as of June, wedding planned for the fall. Emma was excited about being a flower girl. Vivian was invited, though she hadn't decided yet if she'd go. You should come, Emma said one weekend. It's going to be really pretty. Claire showed me her dress. We'll see, sweetheart. Don't you want Daddy to be happy? I do. That's why I'm not sure I should be there. It's his day, his and Claire's. Emma thought about this. But you're my mom, and I want you there. That changed things. Vivian called Noah that night after Emma was asleep. Emma wants me at the wedding, she said. I know. She told me. Is that okay with you? And Claire? Claire left it up to me, said she'd be fine either way. And you? Noah was quiet for a moment. Honestly, I don't know. Part of me thinks it's weird. Part of me thinks Emma's right. You're her mother. You should be there for important family things. I don't want to make this about me. It's not about you. It's about Emma. If you're there, she'll be happy. That's what matters. Okay, then I'll come. I'll sit in the back. I'll be invisible. You don't have to be invisible. Just be there. For Emma. I can do that. The wedding was in late September, an outdoor ceremony at a vineyard an hour outside the city. Vivian wore a simple dress, nothing flashy, and sat toward the back like she'd promised. Emma was adorable in her flower girl dress, taking her job very seriously as she walked down the aisle, dropping petals. Noah stood at the altar in a suit, looking happier than Vivian had seen him in years. When Claire appeared, his face lit up in a way that made Vivian's chest ache. Not with jealousy anymore, just with the recognition of what she'd lost. The ceremony was beautiful, short, and personal. They wrote their own vows. Claire promised to love Noah's daughter like her own, to show up every day, to choose him even when it was hard. Noah promised to be present, to communicate, to never take her for granted. Vivian cried quietly in the back row. Not because she wanted Noah back. That ship had sailed and she'd been the one to burn it down, but because she was witnessing what she could have had if she'd made different choices. At the reception, Emma found her at one of the back tables. Mom, come dance with me? I don't know, sweetheart. Please, it's the electric slide. Everyone's doing it. Vivian let herself be pulled onto the dance floor. Emma danced with all the enthusiasm of a 7-year-old at a wedding. Vivian tried to follow along, messing up the steps, laughing when Emma corrected her. Noah and Claire danced nearby. At one point, Noah caught Vivian's eye. He nodded once. She nodded back. No words needed, just acknowledgement. We made a beautiful kid together. We destroyed our marriage. We're both moving forward. This is okay. Later, as the reception wound down and Emma crashed in her chair with cake frosting on her face, Claire approached Vivian. Thank you for coming, she said. Thank you for inviting me. Emma's really happy you're here. That's the only reason I came. Claire sat down. Can I tell you something? Sure. I was terrified of meeting you, the brilliant billionaire who built an empire, Noah's first love, Emma's mother. I thought I'd never measure up. You don't need to measure up to me. You just need to be you. And from what I can see, you're exactly what they need. He still cares about you, you know, not romantically, but you were a huge part of his life. He doesn't regret marrying you, just how it ended. Vivian looked at Noah across the room, laughing at something one of his friends said. I regret how it ended too, every day, but I can't change it. I can only try to be better going forward. That's all any of us can do. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma sleep in her chair, exhausted from dancing. Take care of them, Vivian said quietly. They're the best thing that ever happened to me. I just figured it out too late. I will. I promise. Fall turned to winter. Emma turned 8. The holidays were complicated, split between households, coordinated schedules, new traditions mixing with old. Christmas morning, Vivian woke up alone in her condo, made coffee, and drove to Noah's apartment at noon to exchange gifts. Emma opened presents from both families. Noah and Claire had gotten her a bike. Vivian had gotten her advanced art supplies and a necklace with a small butterfly charm. Because you're becoming who you're meant to be, Vivian said as she clasped it around Emma's neck. And watching you grow is the best gift I've ever gotten. Emma hugged her tight. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. More than anything. That evening, back at her own place, Vivian sat by the window looking out at the city lights. Her phone buzzed. Text from her mother. How was Christmas? Different. Good different. I'm proud of you, sweetheart, for rebuilding, for showing up, for learning from your mistakes. It's the least I could do. It's more than most people manage. Your father and I see the change. Emma sees it. That matters. Vivian set the phone down and thought about the past year. She'd lost everything. Her marriage, her company, her identity as someone important. But she'd gained something more valuable. Time with her daughter. Peace with herself. The understanding that success means nothing if you're too busy chasing it to appreciate what you already have. She couldn't fix what she'd broken with Noah. That was gone, dissolved in divorce papers and new relationships and the simple passage of time. But she could be a better mother, a better person. She could show up, be present, choose the things that actually mattered. Spring came again. A full year since the divorce was finalized. Vivian was at Emma's soccer game, something she attended every single week now, when Noah and Claire sat down next to her on the bleachers. Hey, Noah said. Mind if we sit? It's a free country. They watched Emma play. She wasn't particularly good at soccer, but she had fun, and that seemed to be the point. She's really improved, Claire said. She has. Practice helps. They fell into easy conversation about Emma's school year, about summer plans, about normal co-parenting things. At one point, during a break in the game, Noah turned to Vivian. Can I tell you something? Sure. I forgive you. Vivian's breath caught. What? I've been thinking about it a lot. What you did, how it ended, and I'm tired of carrying it around. So I'm letting it go. I forgive you. Tears started forming. Noah, let me finish. I forgive you. But that doesn't mean we're getting back together. It doesn't mean we're friends exactly. It just means I'm choosing to stop letting what you did define how I feel about my life. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know, for Emma's sake, and for mine, I'm moving forward without anger. Vivian wiped her eyes. Thank you. That means everything. Claire reached over and squeezed Vivian's hand once. Quick, supportive, the gesture of someone who understood complicated emotions. The game resumed. Emma scored a goal, her first ever, and all three adults jumped up cheering. Emma looked at the bleachers, saw all of them celebrating together, and her face lit up with pure joy. After the game, they all went for ice cream. Emma sat between Noah and Vivian, talking a mile a minute about her goal, how she'd kicked it perfectly, how the coach had said she was getting really good. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart," Vivian said. "We all are," Noah added. They looked at each other over Emma's head. Not with love, not with resentment, just with the understanding that they were both doing their best to give this kid a good life, despite making a mess of their own. It wasn't the family Vivian had imagined when she'd married Noah 10 years ago. It wasn't the life she'd planned. But it was real, it was honest, and it was enough. That night, tucking Emma into bed at her place, Vivian sat on the edge of the mattress. "Mom?" Emma said sleepily. "Yeah, baby. Today was really good." "It was. You played great. Not just soccer, the ice cream after, with you and Daddy and Claire all together. It felt normal." "Good normal or weird normal?" "Good normal, like we're a family, just a different kind." Vivian smoothed Emma's hair. "We are a family, just a different kind. And that's okay." "I know. I love you, Mom." "I love you too, sweetheart. Sleep tight." She turned out the light and stood in the doorway watching Emma drift off to sleep, buttons tucked under her arm, the butterfly necklace on her nightstand catching the moonlight from the window. Vivian had spent 7 years building an empire. She'd made billions of dollars, managed massive funds, gotten her face in magazines and her name on buildings. And none of it meant anything compared to this. To being the person her daughter needed. To showing up. To being present. She'd lost her marriage, lost her company, lost the life she thought she wanted. And in losing it all, she'd finally found what actually mattered. It wasn't a happy ending, not the kind in movies where everything gets fixed and everyone rides off into the sunset. It was messier than that. More complicated. Full of regrets and second chances and learning to live with the consequences of your choices. But it was real. And real, Vivian was learning, was better than perfect ever could have been. She closed Emma's door softly and walked to her own room. Tomorrow she'd wake up and take Emma to Sunday brunch. They'd paint together in the afternoon. She'd help with homework, do the laundry, all the small ordinary things that made up a life. The things she'd missed while she was busy being important. The things that actually mattered. Outside her window, the city lights twinkled. Somewhere out there, Noah and Claire were probably settling into their own evening routine, building their own life together, and that was okay. They deserved happiness. They deserved someone who showed up. Vivian had learned that lesson too late to save her marriage, but just in time to save her relationship with her daughter. And in the end, that was the only thing that really counted. She got into bed, set her alarm for tomorrow, and closed her eyes. For the first time in years, she fell asleep without regrets chasing her into dreams. Just peace, hard-won and imperfect, but real. And that was enough.